3, 2, 1.
You ready?
You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This is The Real Pineapple. This is Hunter, and I'm here with Colin. Colin, how are you, friend?
I'm good, man. How you doing, bud?
It's being black and awesome per usual. And and we have a special guest here on loan to us from the KJ and OJ podcast, which you can go ahead and check out on SoundCloud. OJ is here. OJ, how you doing, sir?
Oh, man, paying the bills, getting some refills.
Yeah, I like that.
Patent pending.
I like that.
Thank you.
So the reason OJ is here, not just because he's bald and beautiful, but because we saw two movies together on Saturday. One, Robin Hood, which you can go check out. Spoiler alert: we weren't fans of it. But something we were fans of is a second movie we saw, which is Creed Creed Dose. I was gonna say Creed Do.
Creed the French version.
Yeah, exactly. Creed 2, which so I went in this going, honestly preparing to be a little disappointed because we were talking about off mic. It's very rare to have a sequel be better than the original. I think out of me and OJ talking here for maybe a half hour, we came up with what? Terminator 2.
Yep.
Definitely.
Aliens.
Yeah. Aliens.
Yep.
Alien. Winter Soldier.
Yep. Wrath of Khan.
There you go. Wrath of Khan. That's 4.
Empire.
5. Okay. Jurassic Park 2. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally fucking kidding because the second one is not better. But the list is very small as far as sequels that are better than the original. It's really difficult to do.
Let alone even on par.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you say on par, the list definitely gets bigger. I actually like Back to the Future 2, more like Back to the Future, personally.
I would say that's an on par one.
Okay, fair enough. I do love Part 2 though, but
same.
But going into this, there was a lot that could have gone wrong with this because you don't have Ryan Coogler back directing. You've got really a new director, Stephen Caple Jr.
Yep.
Taking over here. You don't have Ryan Coogler as a part of the script writing team. He only was a producer this time. So there was a lot here that could have just made this just plummet and just be really mediocre. And this also works as a quasi sequel to Rocky 4 too, which when I heard that I went, okay, that's interesting, I guess. OJ, you're the big Rocky fan here, so I mean, going into this, how are you feeling?
So going into this movie, I mean, I was personally like, Creed was one of my favorites of 2015 when that came out. That was like near the top of my list. And, I was really worried because catching lightning in a bottle twice is no easy task. And let's just be real, Rocky 4 is considered usually to be the campiest of the movies.
I still have a lot of fun with it.
You can have fun with it, absolutely. I mean, I do too, but it's still like really campy.
Yeah.
And so to do a sequel to that specifically is always makes you want to go, oh, I don't know about that. But I mean, it's also kind of semi-natural course of things with how Adonis's dad goes out,
True.
So.
Colin, kind of your thoughts, man.
Yeah, I love Rocky 4.
Do you really?
Yeah,
Nice.
I watched it when I was like a kid, right? And I completely agree. It's like super campy. It's been kind of parodied in like Family Guy and lots of different things. When like the Hearts on Fire training sequence, like out on the mountain while Drago's hooked up to a bunch of electrodes, like in Russia. But I don't know. There was something about Rocky like versus the Great Russian, like during the Cold War. That's just like so badass. So when I first saw the trailer and I saw that it was Drago, I thought it made perfect sense because I mean, like Drago killed, Creed's dad. So I was like, that I appreciate where they're going with that. It definitely piqued my interest. I got super excited when I saw the trailer, to be honest. Although going into it, I didn't know that Ryan Coogler wasn't attached. Well, I mean, he's attached, but he wasn't actually directing. I had no idea of that when I was watching the movie. And the biggest compliment I can pay to this director was that watching it, I still thought it was Ryan Coogler. Like, I was very impressed.
I'm gonna say right now, Creed was my favorite film of 2015. If you haven't listened to our Creed review, you should. I just sang praise upon that movie. I think it's one of the best sports films I've ever seen. I think it's probably it's in that upper echelon for Rocky movies for me. For me personally, my top two favorite Rocky movies would be Rocky and Rocky Balboa. For me personally, Creed would probably be number 3. I'm gonna say, man, this might be my favorite film this year. I cannot honestly believe how much I love this movie. Leaving the theater, we probably talked about this movie for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I think we had one complaint. It's kind of a complaint, but we were just singing praise upon this movie because I agree with you, Colin. I was sitting there watching it because I'd heard mixed reviews about some people saying you really miss Ryan Coogler or it comes across as hokey, and so I went in. I was looking for that stuff. Were people saying that the boxing doesn't work? The boxing scenes are directed insanely well, especially the last one where OJ will tell you I was amped. I was like, black people when they see David Blaine doing magic, I was like, oh shit! Like, yeah. I was there for it. I was excited, but the fights are directed so well, and I thought the thing where this really could have fallen apart is that I think in sequels especially, they always find a hard time to get the love interest, keep them engaged. And Bianca, played by Tessa Thompson, who's quickly becoming one of my favorite actors right now. She's wonderful. They found a way to keep all this momentum going, and I think this movie is a brilliant successor, not just to Creed, but to Rocky IV, which I'll even say I'm a fan of Rocky IV. I think it's a blast to watch and just go USA versus Russia. Thank God that won't happen anytime soon. But as far as the plot, so Adonis Creed, played by Michael B. Jordan, who, to paraphrase Zoolander, he's kind of hot right now. He is. What I liked about the movie that starts it off is that they say that he lost the first fight. He lost his first professional fight, of course, in the Creed. But he's gone on a 23-win streak, which I went, that's pretty intense, especially for boxing. I mean, hell, that's impressive for basketball, let alone for boxing. And so he goes ahead and he's fighting for the it's WBC.
Yep.
Heavyweight title, right?
Yep.
So he goes ahead, he wins. In a badass fight, I thought. So he's the champ, and the movie opens up with Drago. It's a Victor and Ivan Drago.
Yeah, Victor's the son, Ivan's the dad.
Yeah, so Ivan, of course, played by Dolph. Dolph Lundgren is back for this. Can we just talk about
Dude, he looks great too.
He does, and I'll be honest, he was one of my favorite parts. I was sitting there, I went, he's acting and bringing it. Oh my, sorry, we gotta get to the plot here. But him and his son, they starts off with them training. By the way, what a dick dad. He's like, his son's like asleep on the couch and he just walks up and throws like water in his face. I went, what an asshole. And you see the size of his son. His son is terrifying. Yeah, I was like, huge. Like,
you know what his nickname in boxing is, right?
Huh?
Big Nasty.
Really?
Yeah.
Fitting.
Dude, oh my god. When I saw his son, he looked like something you would fight in like a Ninja Turtles video game. I was like, this guy is fucking huge.
He is Super Shredder.
And just, yeah, he's Super Shredder. I was like, good grief. And so you see him running, and he's got speed too. He reminded me of the first time I saw Brock Lesnar. To be totally honest, I went, this guy is big. He just looks like corn fed or whatever they have in Russia, vodka fed, I guess. This guy is just, he's a monster. So you see them going to the States, to go ahead and stir up trouble or rig an election, and and then it cuts back to Creed, who's enjoying time as the champ. He's on top of the world, and he's there with Bianca, and he still talks to Stallone. This is my Rocky impression, and Stallone. OJ brought up a really good point. I don't think Stallone gets the credit he really does for being really as talented of a dude as he is, and he was a co-writer on this, and Stallone gave himself some great one-liners. There are several like, oh shit, Rocky moments in here, but Stallone, just the way of him being the father figure to Adonis, in part I'm sure because of the guilt he feels because he didn't throw in the towel for his dad.
Yep.
Which they touch on here, and I went, thank God you touched on this, because if they hadn't touched on that, I would have dinged this movie hard.
Same.
But a big thing about the movie is that when Drago's son shows up, of course they play off the fact, hey, my dad killed your dad, sucks to be you, and Adonis really going, I need to take this fight. And Rocky still feeling that guilt about, I should have stopped your dad, I had a chance and I didn't. And you can't take this fight. He's dangerous. He's got nothing to lose. You have everything to lose. Which, when Rocky spells it out, I went, he's not wrong at all with what he's saying, but, and I think what's funny about this is the way that these assholes are baiting Adonis into taking this fight. There's this Don King style promoter who was just twisting the blade.
Yep.
There's this nightclub scene between two of them. He goes like, he says something like, self-preservation. Wish you had that over your dad. And they cut to Adonis, and he looks like he was about to choke this dude Latrell Sprewell style, which he should have, to be completely honest. But he kept his cool. But yeah, Colin, I mean, what'd you think as far as like the main characters from Jump?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the movie just picked up right where it left off. Like I was saying before, you really couldn't see that much of a difference as far as the style went. And I was just going through like a lot of the other people credited on this movie, and basically there was like no one carried over, maybe except for like one art director. But I mean, film editing, cinematography, film editing, yeah, everything it's a whole new team, and they did so well. But they're working with exceptional actors, absolutely. Michael B. Jordan is so great in this role. He's great in everything he does, but playing Adonis, he's so good as the son, the fighter, the being trained under Rocky, and then he has exceptional chemistry with his girlfriend, who they take the next step in this movie, which I thought was a pretty good storyline that they went with. I thought it really raised the stakes. It made him have a lot more to lose. Really made the pressure of what he was doing that much more intense, especially fighting someone that was bigger, stronger. But it was all about pride. It was all about avenging his dad. So the storylines are all there. The acting's exceptional. Like you guys were touching on, Sylvester Stallone probably does not get enough credit. I think he was nominated for Creed, but he is so good in this. Again, he makes you choke up at times. He has the weight of being estranged from his son. He has the weight of letting Creed die back in Rocky IV. He has all these demons that he's overcoming while he's trying to protect Adonis in this one. Dolph Lundgren is great. Everybody's great in this movie. I mean, I was blown away. Like you guys said, it's hard to do these sequels well, and I mean, everybody really brought their A game. It was awesome.
OJ, talk to me, man.
So, this movie takes like the best parts of Rocky 2, 3, and 4, and even 5, and puts it together in like a story for Adonis that works really, really well. And what I really liked about this to begin with is that it's still much like last time, even though Creed's like the main character and Rocky is, you can argue, the number 2. This still feels like an ensemble cast with everybody involved. It feels really well balanced. Even Adonis's mom,
Felicia Rashad. Yeah.
I loved her scenes. I loved every scene she was in as well. But I mean, like with this movie, you have from Rocky 2 the whole getting married and having the kid that ends up having a potential, health problem because Adrian goes into labor early for overworking herself in Rocky 2.
You said Adrian goes into labor.
Yeah. In Rocky 2.
Rocky 2. Oh, I thought you were talking about this. My bad. Sorry.
Well, no, yeah. So, like, in comparison to, like...
Gotcha.
Yeah, so in Rocky 2, Adrian goes into labor, like, 6 weeks early or something like that?
Yeah, I think it was 6 weeks.
Yeah, and in this one, you have you have Bianca, Tessa Thompson's character, struggling with the whole, like, is my baby going to be deaf? Is it, what's going to happen? What with, struggling with her own, shit that she has to deal with the knowledge that while Adonis may be hitting his apex as heavyweight champion of the world, what she loves to do is getting gradually on the downside because she's losing more and more of her hearing.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you take that part of Rocky 2, the child and marriage portion, and then for 3 you have the whole, basically Adonis getting the holy hell kicked out of him in the first Drago fight.
Oh.
Which is one hell of an ass kicking. And Michael B. Jordan sells that so well.
Yes, he does.
Oh my gosh, when he's pulling himself off the canvas, clutching the ribs, like that's some heavy duty stuff. And I like how Drago basically has beaten him in this first go around, but gets himself disqualified. Like, that was a nice little workaround to keep the title on him without him like straight up dropping it. But
yeah,
clearly the precedent's there. Like, bam, I got my ass kicked. Of course, the comparisons are there for Rocky 4, as this is like a direct sequel. And Hunter, you touched on the fight promoter.
Yeah.
Rocky 5, while people shit on that movie a lot, I
like Rocky 5.
I like Rocky 5 as well. The guy they got to play the promoter in there, the character's name is George Washington Duke. Real scumbag promoter who's clearly a parody of Don King. This guy is way more sleazy in my opinion because he tries to almost play it straight. But he's not. He's got that sinister, slick son of a bitch look to him, and he plays it really well for the limited time he has. So, I mean, I think you're checking these boxes off of like what previous Rockies have done well, and you put it in this with some twists, and man, this film just kicked ass from start to finish.
Yeah. So, what I'll say for me, you're right. Michael B. Jordan. There's this point where Drago cracks his ribs.
Yep.
And dude, oh man, my side hurt. I was like, cool. And you hear the shot. I was like, oh.
Dude, the sound effects are so good.
I know the sound editing, they did a great job. I was like, holy crap. And something that the first film did a little bit, but this does more, and I think does better, is that when Drago's punching Creed, at points he'll switch to first person view, so you're feeling the punches. It's like, oh damn. And so there are a couple points where you saw him go into the head, and then you go to the body, and he'll cut back to first person, and you're like, oh my god, okay, like damn, he's fucking him up. And you're right. If Drago stops when Creed hits the mat and doesn't punch him in the face, you have a new heavyweight champion. So he's in his hospital bed, and that scene just broke my heart because he's broken.
Yep.
And it really reminded me of Dark Knight Rises when Bane breaks Batman. I remember sitting there in the theater and you could hear a pin drop. I mean, our theater was quiet. I mean, our theater was about like 75% full.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, and people in our theater kind of looking around like, well, damn, this might be a short movie. It was really quiet, and I was sitting there, I was just flabbergasted. And when you see him yell at Rocky, when he goes to visit him, it's a tense scene, you know. When Bianca goes into labor and they have their kid, first off, their baby's adorable.
Right.
I was like, oh, that kid's so cute. And then this movie, it did such a good job of pulling my heartstrings because because Bianca has that disease where she's losing her hearing, and so they go like, oh, we're gonna test the baby for it, and the baby doesn't respond. And I'm not gonna lie, I was like, oh, damn it, and you see, they don't start crying, but you just see the tears start to fall from Creed and from Bianca when they both realize, oh my god. And I'm sitting there in the theater, I'm like, nope, not crying, not getting So Creed takes this rematch. What I will say, I always just freak out when I see SVP. I was like, Scott Van Pelt!
Yes, I did too. I was like, yay, SVP's in a movie.
I knew you'd freak out because like, we both watched Sports Center. I was like, Colin saw that. So the one kind of critique that we have is that they don't say how much time has passed. They say it seems like it's about 4 or 5 months, but he is starting to get told that if you don't defend the title, even though you've been healed from the shellacking you got, if you don't defend the title, we're gonna strip it from you, which happens in boxing and UFC all the time. But I appreciate the fact that they touched on that. What I would have liked for them to touch on more is the whole paper champion kind of concept. The fact that he, is still the champ, but should he still be the champ, considering he retained the title by disqualification. OJ, if you want to touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly how I feel. Like, my one critique is the lack of maybe talking about a paper champion aspect in that. I mean, it's one thing to technically be champ, but if you got your ass kicked and escaped on a technicality, are you still really the man? That's kind of what that boils down to. And I would have liked to, just show, a 20-second scene of Creed reading some things on Twitter or that kind of thing about, oh, he's just a paper champion bum, he's not the real man, that kind of thing. I would have just included something like that. But you know what my favorite scene is in the movie?
Yeah, talk to me.
It's the scene in the gym when he's with his daughter. It's just him.
I love that scene. Yeah.
That scene where he kind of finds that motivation to stand in front of the bag and even if he's just tapping it, get those first couple out of the way and move forward. I thought that was a really great rock bottom sort of scene.
Yeah, and I love how he goes it's okay, Daddy's just being a little bitch. I was like, damn. I was like, okay, gonna bust your own chops there. So of course he returns to fight Drago. He ends up going to the desert in this which is one of my favorite scenes. Of course you gotta get the montage, and so thank you, and so he ends up going out to it's like New Mexico, I think is where he goes, and this is just a bare bones, break your spirit out there to make your body stronger. And Adonis is out there and he's getting the medicine ball in the abs. He's getting, he's out there with a sledgehammer, breaking ground. He's got Rocky in his Mustang, a clean ass Mustang, by the way, behind him, pushing him while he's running. It's such a cool training montage. I just went, I love this so much. And at that point, that's when I was really hyped. I went, okay. Sadly, two motorbikes don't randomly show up and start.
Thank God. Thank God.
And start being fun. But I mean, I was laughing. I was laughing hard, or cheering hard with this. My favorite scene is the last fight. I thought the last fight was just brilliantly done, but Drago gets the big, the big Russian entrance. The fact they got Bridget Nielsen to come back too.
Right.
Can we talk about how much of a trip that was? I was like, oh shit, it's Bridget Nielsen. Yeah, because Stallone and her are not fans of each other, so I was very surprised that she agreed to do it. But Drago gets his big, Russian badass entrance, but Tessa Thompson, she sings Creed to the Ring, and it gave it this cool like family affair sort of vibe to it.
Yeah.
And dude, I have the soundtrack down on my phone. I probably listen to that song 10 times a day. That she sings "Taking Him Out to the Ring." I was like, yeah! I was like, get him, Creed! Like I was hyped for it.
I thought that was a really slick, nice touch. Like just for story wise, to show that she always backed him.
Yeah. Exactly. Colin, I want to get your thoughts on the last fight, man. What did you think?
Last fight was great. I was going back to how they have a first fight like very quick on in the movie. I was going into that I was like, oh damn, they're already getting to the fight. Okay, and I was a little worried if that was the right decision, but all of the things that you touched on already about how he really gets broken down. He has to pick himself back up. He has to really decide if he wants to get back in the ring. And then you get to this last fight. He's already been beaten down so bad. You don't really know how he could ever overcome this, but of course we just got to watch the most badass montage scene. So you're like, okay, he's way stronger now. It even said so in the song. So I mean. By the way, the music in this movie is phenomenal. But yeah, the last scene, they do a good job of show how, Max Kellerman is narrating how he's losing every round, and you can just tell like the only way that he can actually win this is by knockout, and they just. Like I said before, the sound effects, it's like every punch, just like you feel it in your side. Like you're like right there. I highly recommend seeing this on the big screen with the sound, the big surround sound, booming sound. It's really a must see. But man, like it gets so intense, and then the Rocky music. Oh my God. I mean, chills down my spine when that Rocky music hits and you're just like, oh, he's turning it around.
None either. Like, they don't lay it on too thick. It's like the right amount of Rocky music.
Yeah, so well done. Like, super tastefully done. Yeah, what did you think about the rest of the fight, James?
I mean, comparatively speaking, you could always expect a good fight in a Rocky movie.
True.
Always. Starting from the first one all the way up to this one. And I mean, both fights were shot really well. And I really like I said, Michael B. Jordan sells it so well in those in-ring shots. Like, I was just thoroughly impressed. And just real quick, like, with how that fight ends. The second fight ends. Because the one thing I don't think we've really talked about is the Dragos in general. Yeah. Like, how they're not villains, they're just anti-heroes. Yeah. Like, they're not really, like, super malicious, out for blood sort of thing. They're out to regain, notoriety and fame that they lost when Drago lost to Rocky. So, I mean, like, it's not so much like it's I don't know, like, I didn't hate them. Going through the fight, or going through the entire movie. Didn't hate the Dragos. And that scene at the dinner banquet between Ivan and Victor, man, that was really well done. And Dolph Lundgren's just, like, super expressive in this movie. Yeah. Doesn't always say much, but super expressive, and damn, does it work. But he, like... I mean, can we give the movie...
Yeah, spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. He throws in the towel on his son.
Yeah.
That was insane to me, like, sitting there watching it, because that was the one thing, if you would have asked me what was going to happen, I would not have said that. I thought he was going to get maybe knocked out, the son would, but I didn't think that Ivan Drago would throw the towel in. And I just thought that was such a twist, especially with how, and Hunter, you mentioned this off mic that the first thing he says to his son is "It's okay,"
Yep.
and that to me was, that was some good storytelling.
So one thing I'll say is, there's a great call back to the first fight because as any smart boxer would, Drago starts going for Creed's ribs again, and so you're sitting there going, "Oh no, he's gonna crack his ribs again," but at the end of the fight, Creed is just laying these shots in. Like it gets borderline uncomfortable, to be totally honest. Like he's punching him straight in the face. Again, as you would to try to knock someone out, because he knocked him down twice and this big son of a bitch just keeps getting back up. So Creed just goes, "I'm gonna punch you in the face over and over again until you drop." And you see this look on Dolph Lundgren's face where he just looks at the towel and realizes, like, my son won't quit if I don't save him. And it's such a intense moment. I went, "Oh my God, he's going to throw in the towel." And OJ kind of glanced my way, like, "What?" I'm like, "Dude, he's going to throw in the towel." And so when he did, we just went, "Damn, okay, that's how you end the fight." And Creed basically collapses, like, right instantly, just to show how much will he had to just hold on just a little longer. As far as wrapping up my review, the scene where you're gonna have to help me off his name, OJ, where Rocky goes and visits, is it Brandon?
His son?
Yeah, his son.
Robert.
Pardon me.
Yeah.
Where Rocky goes to see, because something that Rocky had mentioned earlier is that he hasn't seen his grandson in a while, or he hasn't met him.
Hasn't met him.
That's right, he hasn't met him. And he goes, and he asks, Creed asks him, "Can't you just pick up the phone?" And I love the way they tease it. In the hospital, he picks up the phone, and he's dialing, and he just hangs up. And so he just shows up on their doorstep, which they also referenced earlier. And I went, "Ah!" And you see Creed taking his family to see to see Apollo's grave, and I just that for me, I went, "Damn, okay." Like, that just gave me chills. Him saying, "This is my family." I was like, okay. Like, and that's when I started crying. I won't even lie. I was like, "Oh, it's so good." Wrapping up here. Yeah, outside that one complaint, and it's not even really a complaint. Like, that's nitpicky as hell. It is, but it's there. What I will say though, for me, man, I thought this was better for me than the first one, and I think the first one is a damn near flawless film. I feel the same way about this. I've got a lot of movies to watch, as OJ will tell you. Got a lot of stuff to watch. I still haven't seen. Sorry for bothering you and some other stuff, but this will be on my top 10 for sure. I will make room for this. Everyone in this movie felt like they had an obligation to fulfill their role, and everyone, and this is a team effort. I think OJ hit the nail on the head when he said this is one of the best ensemble casts. Like, it is an ensemble, and everyone hit when they needed to. I cannot praise this movie enough. This is a first day buy for me, and if Stallone got a second Best Supporting Actor nomination, I would not be mad about it. I thought he did just an incredible job. He not just writing the script and helping with the story, but acting in this and really damn near stealing every scene he's in. And that's not to the detriment of everyone else who's in there with him. There's a scene with him and Vanko at the restaurant, and I just couldn't believe how cool that scene was. I just went, "Oh, this is like, you guys aren't gonna punch each other, but it's like a verbal fight right now." And I love that scene so much. So yeah, this is a fan-fucking-tastic for me. I have already been telling people at work, you need to see Creed 2. And Michael B. Jordan, credit to him physically, because he looks bigger in this one than he did in the first one. I went, holy crap, how are you even buffer than you were in the first one? Yeah, I can imagine the workout for that's not easy. But yeah, kudos to everyone in this movie. Just, fan-fucking-tastic. Colin, sir, your final thoughts and grade, sir.
Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this movie that we haven't already said. I think this is going to be a big old consensus. Not to make any predictions, but dude, I love this movie. Like, from start to finish, I was hooked. I think a great fight movie of any sort basically is always going to be leading towards a big climactic last fight. This does an incredible job of raising the stakes the entire movie, making it worth so much for both sides, and to have it end the way it does. And it's easy to end a movie like on the fight, right when he wins, but they really have that aftermath after the fight where it really, really pulls on your heartstrings. I am one of the last people to cry in a movie, and I was choking up big time. Yeah, big time. I mean, this one really got me. So to that, I say bravo, and I'll probably watch this 10 more times, and it will guaranteed be on my top 10 list. It's a fan-fucking-tastic.
Yes! There we go. OJ, the guest, sir. Talk to us.
Yeah, I mean, you guys hit the nail on the head. I can't sing this movie's praises enough. I really can't. I'm really glad the motorcycles didn't reappear.
yeah. I whispered over to you, Mike. They didn't show up.
I was really thankful for that. But really though, everybody involved, including what was it, Little Duke, the trainer, the son of Apollo's trainer, who was in Rockies 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. Wait, he was in 5 also.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was in all of them. Man, damn, forgot about that. But anyway, yeah, so this movie it stands on its own, references the past, but it doesn't get stuck there. There's some just great lines. It's a fan-fucking-tastic for me as well.
You're talking about Wood Harris, yeah.
Yeah.
You've seen Wood Harris in quite a bit of stuff. The Wire, remember the Titans. He was in the You've seen him and stuff. So yeah, that was a cool little Easter egg. I went, oh, and you called that too. You're like, oh shit, that's Little Duke. And I was like, oh, okay. I like that.
Right.
So yeah, man, everyone needs to go see this movie. And I'll just say in closing for me, as far as me, and I brought this up with Black Panther. Black Panther is so big because it's like, okay, this new generation of black actors, they're who's next, and you can add. Obviously Michael B was in Black Panther, but Tessa Thompson, man, she's special. She really is, and she's actually one of the few actors that tries to sing that actually can. And I was like, oh my god, what a concept! You're actually could sing too. Bruce Willis. Anyway, what? Who said that? But it's true. His music is bad. But she's incredible, man. And like I said, that scene where she sings him to the ring, just goosebumps and chills. And I was like, yeah. But sorry, I got a little pumped to relive the movie. Colin, OJ will tell you, man, I was like out of my seat, man. I was
he was too. Dude. Especially this one time Adonis took a hell of a shot. You literally fell out of your chair. And you even were very audible. You're like, oh shit!
Yeah, there were a couple oh shit. And so OJ goes to the restroom after we get out of the movie, and he's like, yeah, can you hold my drink? I'm like, yeah, I got you. And so there's this black couple a couple rows back, and so the husband's waiting for his wife, and he looks at me, he's like, so you like Creed 2? I was like, yeah, I got a little animated there. I apologize. Like, nah. He's like, no, I was into it too. I'm like, okay. I was like, yeah, because I did have like a couple very loud oh shit just in the middle of the theater. So yeah, thankfully everyone's just like, he's just black and excited, whatever.
He's just black.
Yeah, he's living his best life. It's fine. So yeah, thank you people for not getting management involved. I appreciate that. But yeah, man, love this movie. It'll be in my top 10 for sure. Guys, have you seen Creed 2? Let us know what you thought in the comments below. You can follow us on iTunes, Google Play Music, and SoundCloud at The Real Pineapple. You can follow Colin on the Twitter at
The Real O'Neal.
You can follow yours truly on Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. OJ, where can you find all your stuff, man?
You can find me on Twitter at original_James. You can find me on SoundCloud with On the Fly with KJ and OJ. You could also find KJ and mine, our joint Twitter account at KJ and OJ, and that's spelled out KJANDOJ. So yeah, do check us out there.
Guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll have a review up finally this weekend because we've been talking about it, and since there's nothing coming, I think like the Haunting of Hannah Grace comes out. Who cares? We're not reviewing that. But we're talking about 8th Grade this weekend, and Won't You Be My Neighbor, which we've been talking about for so long, and we're finally talking about it. I'm so excited. But guys, thank you so much for listening. Thanks for subscribing. All the love. We will talk to you guys soon. Take care.
Peace.